Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Friday night tailgate party. It is Friday, October 30th, 2020, and we are going to talk about tomorrow's games, college football. As you can see, we're in a little bit of a different location tonight. We got a couple new pieces of equipment, a new camera, new microphone, and this is the quickest place I could get them set up for some testing. So let's jump right into this week's games. We'll also talk a little bit about last week's games. So we are at Big Fat Nation, and going to the blog section, we'll take a look at this week's blog post titled College Football Week 9. Can a whiteout be a whiteout with any white out? So obviously this is a play on the Penn State Nittany Lions normally playing one of their big rivalry games, or the primetime game they usually play every year with Ohio State, Michigan maybe, where they are in their white unis and entire stadiums filled with white. Obviously with COVID this year, not many fans in the stadiums in Big Ten country, so they are going with a fanless whiteout this year, I'm guessing, of some kind. So we'll see what that's like. First week of Big Ten play wasn't too bad. The fake piped in crowd sound, crowd noise wasn't too bad. I'm just glad there's Big Ten football back. Happy to see it, happy to hear it. Obviously a good win for Michigan against Minnesota last week. But as we get in further into the season in Big Ten play, we'll see how everybody does. There were a couple of upsets, obviously, where Penn State did lose to Indiana on that final play, and Michigan State did lose to Rutgers. I don't know if that's necessarily an upset because Michigan State was kind of a mess before they lost D'Antonio. So with the new coach this year, it's a toss-up as to how they're going to do. But Rutgers historically hasn't been great. Yes, I know they beat Michigan in the first Big Ten season. Blah blah blah. I was at that game, so I get it. I understand. But let's take a look back at last week, and then let's see what we got going on this week. Alright, so I did my corny title of this week's blog post, but overall the top 25 did well. In most cases, Virginia Tech went down to Wake Forest in a close one. Penn State lost on the last play against Indiana on a questionable call. If you watch the replay, it's really hard to see when and where the ball touched out of bounds or the pylon, so the play stood. Everyone else took care of business. However, the Nittany Lion lost take some of the air out of the sails heading into this weekend, with College Game Day headed to Happy Valley in what would have been one of the season's best night games and the proverbial whiteout we look forward to each year. However, COVID has staged a coup against any fun this year, so why would we have any of the tradition this year? In last week's primetime matchup, Michigan looked shaky on their first drive with a blocked punt and subsequent Gopher touchdown on the ensuing drive, but after that, they broke it open, got a few breaks, and had the game in hand by the middle of the third quarter. It was nice to not have to bite my nails till late in the fourth quarter and relax a little after the first game jitters. So let's take a look at this week's games. As we are recording this, we have a couple games going on. We have the Minnesota and Maryland game happening. I believe also the Marshall and Florida International game is on or will be on shortly. Tomorrow we have a great slate of games, depending on what conference you root for, but Big Ten has some really good matchups. News out of the ACC, Trevor Lawrence did come down with COVID, so he'll be out tomorrow against Boston College. We'll see how he does over the course of the next 7 days or so to see whether or not, I believe they play Notre Dame next week, so that will be a game they definitely want him back for. But tomorrow we have Boston College at number 1 Clemson, noon ABC. Number 5 Georgia at Kentucky, noon SEC Network. Memphis at number 7 Cincinnati, noon at ESPN. Michigan State at number 13 Michigan, go blue, noon Fox broadcast. Number 16 Kansas State at West Virginia, noon ESPN2. Number 20 Coastal Carolina coming out of nowhere in the top 25 at Georgia State, noon ESPNU. Number 23 Iowa State at Kansas, noon Fox Sports 1. Purdue at Illinois, noon Big Ten Network. Number 4 Notre Dame at Georgia Tech, 3:30 ABC. So it'll be a good midday game. hopefully Georgia Tech can put together some type of game against them, but I think Notre Dame is turning out to be fairly good this year, so we'll see how they do next week with Clemson. Then we have number 9 Wisconsin at Nebraska, 3:30 Fox Sports 1. Nebraska's kind of turned into a tire fire so far this year, but we'll see if they can put up a good fight against Wisconsin. We have number 17 Indiana, big shakeup in the rankings with them beating Penn State at Rutgers, 3:30 Big Ten Network. LSU at Auburn. Who would have thought that both LSU and Auburn would be unranked at this point in the season? They're at 3:30 on CBS. Northwestern at Iowa, 3:30 ESPN. Texas at number 6 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, top 10, pretty good. 4 o'clock ACC Network. Number 25 Boise State at Air Force, 6 p.m. CBS Sports Network. Mississippi State at Alabama, 7 p.m. ESPN. Alabama's looking really good as well, but they lost one of their top players last week with that injury, I'm pretty sure. But I think they'll probably still take care of Mississippi State. Number 3 Ohio State at number 18 Penn State. 7:30, that's the ABC primetime game. So we'll see how each of these teams does. Ohio State's looking really good this year, I'm not going to lie. Hopefully by the end of the year, both Michigan and Ohio State will be top 10, if not top 5, for a really good, quotes, the game as the last game of the season. Rounding out the schedule for tomorrow in the top 25, we have Arkansas at number 8 Texas A&M, 7:30 SEC Network. Missouri at number 10 Florida, 7:30 SEC Network alternate. Navy at number 22 SMU, 7:30 ESPN2, and number 15 North Carolina at Virginia, 8 p.m. ESPNU. So that's the top 25 schedule for tomorrow. Should be a pretty good slate of games. We're going to be having the Michigan State game on multiple TVs, multiple monitors, depending on where I am. I'm going to hopefully do some cooking or grilling tomorrow. I'm going to make a pepperoni roll, stromboli type thing. Might do some grilling, and then we're going to set up the front yard for the kids to do some Halloweening with the kids next door, and then see how we're going to handle handing out candy to any kids that are walking by. Probably just set up a table at the end of the driveway or something. We're not really sure, but depending on what time it gets all that dark out, probably try to get a TV, or we have a big screen with projector. We'll probably try to set up once it gets dark out. I definitely want to be able to watch that Ohio State-Penn State game. So that's what my priorities are tomorrow. Michigan State, noon. I guess the Notre Dame and/or the LSU Auburn, the 3:30 games I'm going to watch, and then the Ohio State Penn State game, 7:30 ABC. So that's the schedule for tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Kind of excited. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Be safe. Have fun, but be safe. And we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.